Well, hello there, second and third grade artists from Momot Elementary. We are going to be creating an overlapping shapes drawing today. Here's my example. You'll notice I've colored the whole paper. And yes, we are focusing on shapes today. And we are going to practice overlapping our shapes and trying to also think about the whole picture, thinking about the composition, where your shapes are on your whole paper. Let me show you how we're going to do this. You're going to need a nice clean sheet of paper. You're going to need some drawing tools. I've got my crayons. I've also got in here some markers and a pencil. Now, besides our usual drawing tools and coloring tools, you are going to need some shapes. I went on a little shape scavenger hunt and I found all sorts of objects that I can trace for my shapes. So I have a wooden block. This block is a nice cube, which one side of the cube block is a square shape. This Lego plate is a lovely large rectangle shape. This little container is an awesome circle. And I also have some cups. Check it out, the bottom of the cup makes for a great circle. The top of the cup makes for a bigger circle. I have a couple of cups here actually, because I wanted some different sizes to choose from for my shapes. I also found a square shape plate in my Legos and a smaller rectangle. So go ahead, gather your supplies, get some shapes, go on a little scavenger hunt. And we are going to be focusing on tracing our shapes, our geometric shapes. So you can either start with a pencil or dive right in with a marker. I'm going to dive right in with a marker so I have a nice black outline. And I want you to think about your composition. Composition is the arrangement of objects on your paper. So think, where do I want to put my very first shape? Down here, smack in the middle, in the top. I'm going to go right here. I'm going to hold my cup. I'm going to trace around it. There. Now I'm going to take my next shape. I'm going to use my square shape. And remember, I want you to overlap your shapes. That means one shape is going to be overlapping, going over the other. So think, do you want to have your shape here and overlap just a little bit? Do you want to have a lot of overlap of your shapes? Or just a tiny little bit down here? You know, I kind of like this, maybe a little more overlap. Now, it's kind of fun to think about ahead of time what your drawing, what your picture might look like at the end. And that planning part is a really important step that artists make when they're creating a piece of art. So now I've got my circle shape, my square shape, and I trace them so that they're overlapping. And look where they meet in the middle. They make actually another shape. You'll notice in my example, I colored all of those different overlapping parts a different color. So I want you to think about that as you're drawing your shapes. I'm going to put my big rectangle kind of down here. So you'll notice I've got a circle and a square up here, and then there's all this empty space. So I'm going to think about what I can put down here. Actually, I kind of like that. So I'm going to put my big rectangle down here to fill this big empty space. You kind of have to go a little slow and careful when you're tracing. Remember, when you're tracing, it's really important your helper hand is holding down the object and your tracing hand is just lightly going around. You don't want your tracing hand to push too hard Otherwise, your shape that you're tracing might move on you. All right, so I've got my big rectangle here. It'd be fun to have something maybe overlapping right here. Oh, look at that. I've got another cup that I can trace. I want it to overlap both of these shapes, my square and my big rectangle, just a little bit. So I'm going to put it there, trace around it. Ta-da! So now it's actually kind of cool. I made a little pattern almost. A circle, square, circle, big rectangle. And look where my circle overlapped those other two geometric shapes. I've got this little splice of a semicircle. That's a really cool little shape that my overlapping shapes made. I kind of feel like I need a little something up here. Maybe I'll use my little circle. Put a little circle right here. And then let's see. Maybe that would be cool. My little rectangle right here. So remember, I'm actually pausing to think, where is my next shape going to go on my piece of paper? Thinking about that composition. All right, I think my drawing is all done. You know what I should do? I haven't actually done this with you artists yet. I haven't been telling you to sign your artwork, which is kind of important because it is your artwork. You need to claim it as yours. Now, I just kind of randomly picked colors from my crayon box, and I just, my goal was to color every spot a different color, but you can choose whatever method you want for coloring. You could pick a couple of colors, maybe 3 kinds of blues, and you could set the goal to make sure that every space you colored a different color and try not to have the 2 of the same colors right next to each other. Or you can do what I did and color every single piece that you have drawn and overlapped a different color. Or you could just pick 2 colors. Challenge yourself to see if you can color your whole paper with just 2 colors, but make sure that you never have the same color touching or right next to the same color. All right, I'm going to keep on coloring my shape, overlapping shapes drawing. I can't wait to see what you artists create today. Have fun going on your geometric shape scavenger hunt, and I'll see you next time.